Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
Welcome back to Blood and Black Rum Podcast's Festivus series. This year, we're taking on all new Christmas movies, including Netflix's Hot Frosty, Christmas with the Kranks, Don't Open Till Christmas, and possibly a couple other holiday favorites. We hope you have a great holiday season, spending it with us.
Phoenix, Lake Tahoe, Albuquerque. Did I mention Cleveland?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum Podcast. I'm Ryan from ColdSploitation.com, and I'm joined by my co-host Martin.
How's it going?
Ho, ho, ho. Pretty well. We're ending our Festivus series.
With feats of strength.
Yeah, that's right. Festivus is actually upon us, right? It's around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So we're close to the day. But yeah, we're ending things after 3 episodes this time because, you know, the Christmas season was a little bit shortened this year because of Thanksgiving being late, but it's been a fun time. And we've done an eclectic mix of movies for our Festivus series this year. We did the Lacey Chabert Netflix special, which you did, we actually kind of enjoyed. It was a kind of strange thing. One of the best that we've covered recently. And then
I like how you're trying to throw me under the bus for that, but you were the first.
I was going to say you, and then I was like, you know what? It's not bad, right?
But not only that, but you were the one to suggest it first too. I didn't even know it was like.
It's true.
I just knew Lacey Chabert Netflix movie because she's an old biddy now by Hallmark standards.
Thrown out of the Hallmark.
Yeah.
Hallmark hallway. Yeah, then we did Don't Open Till Christmas last week, which was an interesting slasher film about guy killing Santas. Change it up a little bit, since we've done all the other Santa killing movies that are worthwhile. And then now we've got a movie that is near and dear to our hearts. It's been near and dear to my heart ever since I saw it in theaters back in 2004.
Oh, so you saw it in theaters?
I sure did. Yeah, I've seen this one in theaters. And I've seen this one many, many times. Probably almost every Christmas, I think. It's not like a must-have during Christmas, but it is one that we try to get in most of the time. And part of that reason is because we also came up with a drinking game that was, you know, back in our prime, you know, in our 20s, when we were really partying it up. We really, you know, we started doing the drinking game pretty hardcore. So, no, I joke. But yeah, we made up a drinking game for this game as well, which we'll talk about as we get into the movie. But it's another reason why it's so near and dear to our heart. We have good nostalgic memories of the drinking game, of people getting extremely drunk, too drunk during the movie. We'll talk about why that happens as well as we, you know, talk about how the game works. But yeah, this is a fun one. So again, we try to pick like 3 different types of movies here, and now we're kind of hard. And honestly, too, we were surprised to see that we had not done this movie.
Which we need. I was gonna say, podcast's been going on for a decade.
Yeah,
this film has been mentioned every time around this year ad nauseum.
Yeah,
as a Christmas classic, a Festivus classic here on the podcast.
It's true.
And we never did it.
I'm still not convinced we haven't actually done it, and I've scoured all the episodes that we've done, and
we're being Mandela affected.
I guess so. I mean, I've gone back. Like I have to just take my own research into account here and just trust myself that I did enough research where I cannot find that we've done it. So it's not a duplicate. If it ends up being a duplicate, so be it. Right? We'll cover it again. Maybe we'll hit new ground. I can tell you that we have a lot to talk about that I don't remember us talking about. So, you know, I'm going off the assumption that we've never done it before. But it feels so near and dear, you know? So I guess that's the reason why it feels like we've done it, and we talk about it every year. And I quote it all the time, and I quote multiple different things about it. So, what we're talking about Christmas with the Kranks today. otherwise known as Skipping Christmas, the John Grisham novel. And that's how I first knew of Christmas with the Cranks, because I did read the John Grisham Skipping Christmas novel when it came out, which was probably a year or two prior to Christmas with the Cranks releasing. I distinctly remember my mom buying that book, reading it, and thinking it was pretty cool. And it was like probably one of the start of my annual tradition of reading Christmas books. It was like one of those like really fast-paced reads that you could just get done during a holiday sitting, and fun time. So when Christmas with the Cranks was released and they changed the name, I was a little bit peeved that they changed the name, but understandably so, because at the same time, Surviving Christmas was coming out in that same year, same holiday season, and I guess they just thought Skipping and Surviving were just too close together. They didn't want them to be confused with each other. And I don't know. Have you seen Surviving Christmas, by the way?
No.
No? I have one time. I don't think they would ever be confused with each other once you actually see it, because Surviving Christmas has fucking Ben Affleck and James Gandolfini in it. And it's kind of like a more... I guess I understand why they wanted to not have that connotation, because I think like Surviving Christmas is a little bit raunchier. It's like a PG-13 for Christmas, so they didn't want them to be confused and have parents going to the wrong one with their kids and going to see Surviving Christmas instead. So, but a little interesting tidbit for you. Did you know that it was based on a John Grisham novel?
I did know that. I saw that in Wikipedia, yes.
Okay, just making sure. Just keeping you on your toes there. You ever read John Grisham?
No, not that I'm aware of, but you know me, I'm not the most well-read when it comes to novels.
Wouldn't expect you to have read any of his legal thrillers. So
I rather read just a legal brief instead.
There you go. Like, no, I don't read this fake made-up shit that John Grisham writes. I read real legal briefs. Just for the fun of it. It is funny, though, too, when you think about it. Like, John Grisham writes mostly legal books. And then all of a sudden, he just rips off Skipping Christmas. I'm going to write this nice Christmas holiday book instead. Very not connected to legality or anything judicially related at all. So,
do you think that's because it was ghostwritten?
No, I don't think so.
Where's the Dean Koontz Christmas novel or novels?
Yeah, Dean Koontz doesn't really do Christmas books either. Dean Koontz, though, Koontzzy, I don't believe that he ghostwrites. I think he just cranks out two books a year for his Amazon deal. And I don't think he ghostwrites them. I don't think he could ghostwrite them because they all feel very samey. So, like, it would be tough to, like, actually ghostwrite. like, if you read some of James...
You don't think it's AI generated at this point?
Maybe it is. He just, like, puts in, what kind of quirks can my bad guy villain have? And then AI just takes it away from there. Because that's pretty much every book that he writes now. James Patterson definitely has ghostwriters. That's like his main shtick now. But I have come around on the ghostwriting from James Patterson because it seems like he's actually kind of a good dude. Just trying to get other people to be recognized as like writers, so they get their name slapped on the book for doing a ghostwriting and kind of furthers their authorial careers. So I think that's cool. I don't know that they necessarily need to be writing, kind of half-baked plots that James Patterson cooks up, but if it helps them get into the industry, so be it. So I don't think, to come back to your point though, I don't think John Grisham ghost wrote Skipping Christmas. I think it was just an idea he had and he ran with it. And then we get Christmas with the Cranks, a beautiful film about being coerced into celebrating Christmas by your neighbors. Should we go into the drinking game now, or should we go into it later on as we get into the movie? What do you think?
No, let's start off now. What are the rules of drinking with the Cranks?
So I'm going to try to remember, because we haven't done drinking with the Cranks in a while, but I believe the main rules were anytime they say Luther's Tim Allen's character.
There's 5 rules.
Yeah. Luther, when they say Luther, because that's Tim Allen's character, and they're constantly yelling it. Everybody's yelling Luther. Jamie Lee Curtis is shrilly yelling Luther all the time. Luther, what are you doing? The other one that goes along with that is Frosty. Anytime anyone says Frosty, because Frosty is a big plot point in this movie of putting up a gigantic 7-foot tall Frosty on your roof, making it the most inconvenient fucking decoration that you can have on your house. A 7-foot tall Frosty that you have to drag up onto the roof. And not only that, but in this movie, it always gives me goosebumps to see Tim Allen dragging Frosty up the roof, ripping off shingles like fucking pulling off fingernails in a Saw torture porn movie. Doesn't that make you cringe just thinking about it? Like, the roof. Oh, no. The shingles.
As like an adult now. Like, it's like,
I think that's what really.
What are you doing? Like,
probably one of the worst things in this movie is just like, the roof. Oh, it's going to be leaking in those spots. You're going to be wondering, 3 weeks from now, why is our roof leaking in this spot? And you're going to remember, you'll be like, fucking Frosty, when I had to pull up Frosty on the roof and I dragged him across the roof. Oh, yeah, as an adult, as a homeowner, that is gives me shivers. So back to that. So Frosty is another one. Anytime they say Frosty, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Anytime Luther is mean to a cat. Yep. Well, I should say the cat, because there's only one cat in here. It's the Shields, the neighbor's cat. Anytime he's mean to the cat, you have to take a drink then too. Anytime they say Christmas?
Christmas, yep.
Yep. Anytime they say Christmas, which is also a lot, you have to do that. Take a drink. And I forget the last one. What's the last one?
The last one is the funnest one. Anytime they say hickory honey ham.
Oh, that's right. Hickory honey ham. And then wasn't there one where you had to take a shot as well? I can't remember that one.
I don't think we ever got to the
maybe not. I mean,
version.
The 5 rules are extremely hard. This is one of the hardest drinking games I can think of. It's maybe harder than a waterfall.
Our one friend drank 11 ciders that night from the movie alone.
Because there are literally times when they're saying Frosty over and over again. It doesn't just count one time, when Spike calls on the phone and says, free Frosty, free. Nope. Every time he says it, that's a drink. So it is a very difficult game. You can easily find yourself, even by halfway point, you can easily find yourself schnockered. And to use the Black Christmas term, it's tough. It's tough. There are definitely times where we just had to call it. I remember one time. You weren't there actually. This game originated prior to you. You weren't a part of it at first. It was
I was a legacy can.
Yeah,
not a legacy.
Part of our college watching experience, and we had to quit because we were drinking hot chocolate with peppermint schnapps, and that, can you just imagine hot chocolate, hot, thick, viscousy chocolate that you're just drinking and getting so full and so sick on sweet, sticky chocolate throughout the movie. We had to call it because somebody was, we got halfway and we're like, there's no way we can continue drinking hot chocolate with this. It's hard enough with just the alcohol itself. With hot chocolate too, like we didn't have enough bathrooms. I'll say that. There wouldn't be enough bathrooms to hold everybody. So yeah, try it.
What would you rather do? If you had to get in a choice now in your old age, would you rather do drinking with the Kranks or a power hour?
So I've never done a power hour. I just know from what you've said and what I've heard that it is a difficult experience.
Shot? Well, there's different varieties.
Shot every minute, right?
Of beer, yeah.
Shot of beer every minute, which doesn't sound that bad, but then when you start to think about it, it ends up being a lot of beer throughout a 1 hour period. It just adds up over time. How many beers does it end up being? I forget now, but
a shot glass is what?
Like 1.5 ounces. So it's like you're doing 61.5 ounces. So whatever the math is. Whatever the math is on that, I don't know.
It's more than that because
yeah, something like that.
I think
it's like 10 beers or something like that. I think it ends up coming out to be. So it's a lot, and I don't know. This is a tough game. This really is, but it may not be as bad as. And you can also you can also make it as hard or as easy as you'd like to be. So you get to pick with this game how much you actually drink when you drink. So like if you do when you hear frosty, and you're like, just take a little sip, like that's my rendition of taking a sip. But you can make it easier if you just, go easy on it.
Take nips.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Answer's 8 beers. Ends up being 8 beers.
8 beers. Okay, 8 beers. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot in an hour. I don't think I've ever had 8 beers an hour.
It seems like people you think like a gallon of milk and
yeah,
that's not, and then you do it,
and then you're like, this was a horrible mistake, and then you're put off milk for good.
I'd probably do drinking with the Kranks over that just because at least I get to watch a movie.
It's true as well. That's true. You get to at least you get to watch Christmas with the Kranks. So there you go, 2 for 1. All right. Now that we did the drinking game, let's take a break. Let's talk about what you're drinking on the show today. I've actually had this one in my fridge for a little bit because I got stocked up prior to even getting the episodes together. And I saw this one it sounded good for the holiday season. It's from Jack's Abbey. We've done, I think maybe 1 or 2 other Jack's Abbey beers on the show before. We've definitely done their Copper Legend Oktoberfest. I think we've done maybe 1 other one that we've tried. This one is called Cranberry Chaos, and it's a cranberry and orange lager. It's on the can. It says it is a touch tart. And I would agree with that. It's very cranberry forward. It's almost like a sour in that regard, where it has sort of like a sour gose style tartness to it, where, again, like a gose style, sometimes that tartness all blends together no matter what kind of fruit you use, and it kind of just becomes a tart bomb. I would say that this one does have a distinctive cranberryness to it. Excuse me. I would say that I don't really get a lot of the orange in this one. Maybe just a tad bit, maybe a little bit of that acidity from the orange. Mostly cranberry, though. A little bit tart, a little bit of the wheatiness too of it, because it's a wheat beer. But I think it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it for the most part. I like that nice little tartness to it. I like that the cranberry is sort of distinct here, in that is the fruit that we're using, rather than just like any old sour tartness to it. So I think they've done a pretty good job with this. I would say it's pretty easy drinking for the holiday season. I don't know that I would say like I love it, but I think that it's, it's a pretty good beer for the Thanksgiving to Christmas run. It kind of gives a similar feel to like a sour gose, a little bit different than when we've covered the Jenny Cranberry, or the Jenny Cran. What the fuck is that one? The Cran Orange Keller beer.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a different presentation from that one, because that one definitely does not go towards like the tart and sour side. So, like an interesting experience from Jack's Abbey.
Yeah, and that Jenny Cran Orange Keller beer, which I do miss that which they brought back instead of that horrendous black cherry vanilla. Almost wiped that from my mind. Thanks for reminding me. Definitely was more wheatier. And you're right, the cranberry in this is definitely very tart, and you put it right, the summary of it perfectly. It's kind of like a gose, style sour. It's like how, tart and warheady, that cranberry kind of comes off, and just like super tart, like super sour for like a beer at least. Not like, that I'm saying it's like making your lips totally pucker, but it is very tart. The orange is incredibly mild at the end. which I'm fine with because I think the cranberry style itself, lends itself. It's a nice, light, goes well with the lager. It's very easy to drink. Has slight weediness to it, like Jenny's cran orange colored beer. Not nearly as weedy and bready, but it's got like a nice slight lager presence to it. Very drinkable, very easy to go down. I like it a lot. I think it fits, the holiday season quite well. Fall and Christmas. I don't know how, impressed people would be with it overall. I think it's, what it tries to do. It does a pretty good job, so.
Yeah.
I like it quite a bit.
Yeah. It's a good one from Jack Stab, yeah. I think it's a nice little lager style. All right, let's get into Christmas with the Kranks.
AKA, call out the holly. Call out the holly.
That's right. AKA,
no ho ho.
Stop living in the hoa.
Don't
The
you
ho,
love
ho,
that
hoa.
that movie poster? No ho ho.
Is that what it says on there?
Yeah, no ho ho.
I guess I have never. On like the regular one where it's hanging upside down. Oh, okay. I see.
Yes,
There's an alternate one that says.
Yeah, on Wikipedia.
Yep.
Your mom must have, and God bless her soul, seen Jamie Lee Curtis's bob cut in this and been like, that's
the one I want.
That's
the one. It's true because she later on she used to have shorter hair for most of my life with her out my childhood to early adulthood, and later on she decided that she wanted to grow out her hair a little bit, and she did have a very similar style to Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie. So yeah, good pointing that out. 2004. My mom and me sitting in the movie theater, and she's like, oh wow, at that point she hadn't decided to keep her hair long. It would have been years until she actually did it, but yeah, maybe that was the inspiration for her.
The reference, yeah.
That's right. Christmas with the Kranks, released in 2004. Honestly, I can't believe it's been that long it's 20 years old now this year. This is the 20th anniversary of Christmas with the Kranks.
Where's the Criterion Collection?
Right? Yeah. 20th anniversary, 4K edition, Christmas with the Kranks.
Listen, it doesn't take much. Beavis and Butthead Do America. Great film, by the way, though. In the Criterion Collection.
Huh. One thing to note too about this movie, written by Chris Columbus. Chris Columbus.
For a 1492 production.
Mm-hmm.
What a smart guy, huh?
Chris Columbus, known for quite a number of other movies that are kind of not really in line with this one, but Gremlins being one of the ones that we've covered. Another Christmas movie from 1984.
I Love You, Beth Cooper.
Yep. And
Centennial Man.
I think for Chris Columbus, he was more known for his production company than actually what movies he made, right? Like literally was behind. Wasn't generally like a huge director or writer, but did direct Mrs. Doubtfire, directed Home Alone 2 and Home Alone. So like, yep. So, again, not known super well for writing. So it's interesting that this was a project that he decided to write specifically. This one's directed by Joe Roth too, who I don't really know. Just looking at his credentials, IMDb, mostly known for a producer. Couple things directed, including Revenge of the Nerds 2. But other than that, this is kind of another one of those weird projects for him, where it's just like a one-off in his career. So interesting. One thing I wanted to point out too, before we really get into the movie, is this obviously this movie stars Tim Allen. Another Christmas movie for Tim Allen, who's kind of made it a point to star in a bunch of Christmas movies in his career, or Christmas things. Been watching excuse me, I'm still getting over this cold a little bit. I've been watching the Home Improvement series, watching every single holiday episode of Home Improvement. And I want to point out that in one episode, I think it's season 4, Tim Allen shows up with M. Emmett Walsh in an episode because M. Emmett Walsh is his father-in-law in that movie, or in that show, I mean. So that's kind of weird that they had an episode of Home Improvement together, and then, years and years later, they both star together in Christmas with the Cranks. Kind of a fun thing. But yeah, Christmas with the Cranks focuses on Luther and Nora Crank, who at the beginning of this movie are actually saying goodbye to their daughter Blair, who's going on a trip for the Peace Corps. And it's around Thanksgiving time, and they are wishing her well and seeing her off, and obviously crying very much because now they're empty nesters. And they decide that, you know what, with Blair not home, they think they're going to skip Christmas this year. Tim Allen comes up with a great scheme.
Well,
go ahead.
He has a great reason to want to skip Christmas.
True.
As apparently, what's Luther's job, bitch boy?
Some sort of accountant sort of thing in Chicago or whatever.
Yeah, well, suburb, it might as well be a John Hughes film.
Yeah.
But he calculates not through a couple 6 years, 10 years, a decade, 15 years on what they spent in Christmas. Last year alone, they spent $6,132 on Christmas. This is in 2003, 2004 dollars.
Right. That's my wife was saying that too.
What are we doing? What? And Jamie Lee Curtis is a homemaker. Even if he's making $150,000 a year.
Yeah, 6,000.
What are you pissing that money away on? Does everybody get a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue as they come to your Christmas party?
Not only that too, but he must be an accountant to saving these Christmas receipts from last year. Do you save receipts?
No, but
I don't even save receipts that they literally just gave me at the store. I'm like, I say thank you very much, wad it up, throw it in their garbage.
You want to know how they're getting people now? That it's they ask you if you want to text it to you, and it's like right. I don't want my fucking receipt texted to me. So when you're like, I gotta bring this back, it's like, well, you're kind of shit out of luck because it's like, well, I didn't print the receipt. You
didn't print it. You didn't text it. You don't have a receipt. You don't have any proof. Yeah,
but no, but still, that's just boggling. 6,000. What are they doing? Do they have somebody come down and reenact a Christmas Carol every year?
Here's the thing too. They spent $63 on ornament repair, which is pretty crazy.
What is
right? I didn't know there was an industry.
Is Franco Nero down there?
They must live in the Barefoot Contessa village. The Ina Garten's village of mushroom shops and little cheese nook stores, because I don't know anybody. If I were to go around in our town and be like, hey, you guys know anybody that repairs little tiny Christmas knickknacks? Be like, what the fuck? No, those go in the dump. you throw those right out.
You mean the Hess truck?
Yeah.
If you can't get a Italian merchant named Franco Nero from Christmas in Rome with Lacey Chabert to put the time and effort into fixing your priceless 16th century Venetian ornament, store-bought's just fine.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know. In $63 for ornament repair in 2003 in inflation terms is $3,000 today. So $3,000 on ornament repairs, you just throw those things out. I don't even care if
did you ever have any no, but did you as a family have any of these incredibly ornate glass ornaments, or were they all plastic tchotchkes?
Nah, we had a couple of nice ones. We
didn't. There was no fine china baubles at the Martin household of things to be put on the fake tree It was plastic and whatever the hell us idiot children made in school, like, to adorn the tree with.
We had a couple. We had a couple of like baby's first Christmas, sort of like nice little, nice, trinkets and baubles. But other than that, not anything. And I remember one year we subscribed to the Disney Ornament of the Month Club or something like that, where they would send you like a nice like plastic ornament from every kind of Disney movie. But other than that, I don't remember us having like really expensive ornaments or anything like that because, kids, dogs, they don't go very well with Christmas trees sitting in the middle of your room. So, you don't want to have like an expensive thing on your Christmas tree. So, no, I don't remember that. But yeah, I love that whole scene where Luther's sitting there typing up on the calculator.
On work hours, too.
Yeah. On work hours. Typing it up on the calculator to the song that's playing. It's actually like kind of a fun little ditty, I think. But yeah, on work hours on a desktop calculator. No wonder he's hasn't moved up in the accounting world. He's not even using a computer right now. He's just stuck in the analog phase of accounting. But yeah, so the idea is that like, he's like, holy shit, we spent $6,000 on Christmas last year, which again would raise red flags for most normal person. You'd be like, what the fuck? First of all, did my wife hire like someone for, an assassination attempt or something on my life? That would be something that would now raise red, like possibly she took out a hit on me last Christmas. It didn't work out. I need to be concerned about it this year because what did we have to spend $6,000 on Christmas for? So anybody would rightfully be sort of, thinking like maybe we shouldn't do that this year for Christmas. That's a lot of money that we just wasted away.
Hired Agent 47 to come and get you.
Yeah. So I guess one of the things that a normal person would be like is like, we'll just be more careful this year. We'll still do Christmas, but we just won't do it as big this year. Like we won't hire that guy. We won't hire Franco Nero to come in and fix our ornaments. We won't have him spend the night at our house because he's got to fly in from Italy. Instead, we'll just do it a little bit, less. But no, instead, what Luther thinks is, you know what? I saw a hot babe on a billboard ad about going on a cruise, and that looks good to me. So let's not do Christmas at all. Let's skip the entire thing, and let's go on a cruise for Christmas.
Sponsored by Carnival.
It's sponsored by Carnival. That's right. This movie has a lot of sponsors. This movie has a lot of ad tie-in.
By the way, what? I'm sorry, is this a suburb of Chicago or is it fucking the rainforest? Why right after Thanksgiving is it pouring down like they're in the Amazon?
Yeah, it's a pretty heavy rains for that. Like that whole first scene where he's going into the Chips market there to get the all the ingredients and getting wet all the time. Yeah, it's pretty wet.
JB Lee Curtis just sitting there with her knitting. Like,
oh. Yeah. So the cruise thing, what do you think about that? So the idea for him, for the Kranks in general, is to not only are they not going to like just, buy stuff for Christmas. They're literally not going to do Christmas at all. They're not going to say Merry Christmas. They are not going to buy anything related to Christmas tangentially, even though their cruise only leaves on Christmas Day. What do you think about that? Like, how should they have just boycotted the entire Christmas season if they're going to do that?
Say it again. Sorry.
Should they have boycotted the entire Christmas season, even though their cruise only leaves on Christmas Day? That still leaves the whole month of December where you can still technically celebrate Christmas without having to buy gifts, without, you're not buying shit. You're just celebrating it. You're just, being a white Christian person celebrating Christmas.
A wasp.
Exactly.
No, buy in to the idea. Don't even bother.
You're saying just yeah, that's a good idea. Skip it entirely. Everybody forget about Christmas.
Fuck them.
Well, not only so, the reason I bring that up is because in Christmas with the Kranks, Luther, it's not just that they're skipping Christmas and they're deciding, like, as a duo, that they're just not going to do Christmas and they're going to go on a cruise this year. But Luther takes it upon himself to be like going into work, writing up a company memo, again, on company time, drafting it out, printing it out on company paper with company header, and giving it out to everybody in the office saying, listen, I'm not fucking doing Christmas this year. Don't expect a gift. Don't expect me to say Merry Christmas. I won't say bah humbug to you, but don't expect any of it. And then hands it out like it's, a newsletter or something. Like, if you're not going to do Christmas, that's fine. Just don't do it. And you don't need to tell everybody you're not doing it. That's like somebody who, celebrates Kwanzaa coming up to them and be like, yeah, no, I'm not fucking doing Christmas this year. Here's my pamphlet of things that I will not be doing for Christmas this year. It's just something that you just wouldn't, you wouldn't participate in.
Well, I think it's okay, because no, he was heading them off at the pass. Because if he didn't do that, he'd have to go through the rigmarole of every time when someone's like, Merry Christmas, Luther, are you going to do this? He's like, sorry, I'm not participating in Christmas this year. They'd be like, what?
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying.
What? Because the way everyone reacts, you think,
the outrage of it happening 60 times versus getting it done and over with one time with everybody. Okay, I see your point there. I see your point. That people would be so disappointed that they would, there'd be chit-chat and
He's
gossip.
the one that tells these cunts, I'm not going to say bah humbug to you.
That's true.
Or piss on your merriment. I just don't want to be involved in this ridiculousness. I just want to be left alone and then go on my cruise to the Bahamas with my big-tittied wife. And be done with this. And then everyone acts like they ostracize and then go, he's not celebrating Christmas. What a shitbag. What an asshole. What a fucking piece of shit. I can't believe this fucking cunt has the gall to not celebrate Christmas. Instead of being like, cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, okay. This guy's not doing it. All right.
Jamie Lee Curtis's tits. I mean, street corn dip at the holiday party must be pretty big for them to all, just go, whoa,
Right. No holiday party? No Christmas cards? You would think that...
Oh, God, the local Hallmark guy is stalking Jamie Lee Curtis down the road, be like, "Did you order your Hallmark card, your Christmas cards?" She's like, "We're not doing that." He's like, "Nani?
Well,
what do you mean?" And then follows her to lunch with her friends.
Well, you know what?
Like, she's not celebrating Christmas. No,
somebody has to keep this suburban economy going. They're spending $6,000 a year at the in their town economy. So they're the ones that are keeping things open. If Aubie doesn't sell these Christmas cards and Christmas invitations to the Kranks, then he's going out of business next year. He won't be in business next time for Christmas.
Good. You know what you should do? The Spirit of Halloween model be open for like a month and a half and then close up shop.
There you go. Thanks, Aubie, for leaving a nice industrial building, and we'll take that off your hands for you.
Disrepair. But I mean, like, no, it's just like ridiculous. And not only that, though, too. Again, this movie tries to have it both ways with like, it's all about the spirit of Christmas.
True.
In Community, it's not about that. This is like the most waspy, disconnected, disjointed medley of like Christmas nonsense ever. It's about presents and capitalism and the suburban and the homeowners association. Like all of this, like nobody's talking about Christ and the holiday and blah blah. None of it. It's might as well just be a fucking Toys R Us, commercial.
I definitely agree with you. I agree that it's muddled because, like you said, there is that whole idea that the community is somewhat hostile. Even though I would say that Luther is kind of an asshole throughout. Like, he is an asshole. Like, he's like, especially how hostile he gets when the Boy Scouts are trying to sell him a tree, and he's like, "No, I'm not buying your tree." I would say that Luther is an asshole throughout the movie. At the same time, I do see that the community is very hostile towards the Kranks for their decision that they just don't want to do it this year, to the point where they're hounding them about putting up Frosty and their decorations.
Totally defeats the purpose of the goodwill and Christmas, it totally defeats that, peace-loving message.
Right. Because all they're seeing is, hey, wait a second. We live on this like nice, fancy mansion cul-de-sac, and everybody's got their ridiculous Christmas lights outdoors except the Kranks. That would be fine, except it's going to look really bad when they come around for our annual newspaper, photo of the community, because we want to win the community award for best Christmas decorations this year. So it is about selfishness for the community at large. It's not just about like, we want to make sure that everyone's participating in the Christmas spirit. They're like, no, get your Christmas lights up because we don't want to lose this competition, okay? We don't want to lose to, those dirtbags over on Holiday Lane over there. It's the it's the guy from Christmas Vacation, the boss there, that lives on their whatever that rich fancy person lane is, and that they got to beat that guy. So I get what you're saying. So the muddledness comes from the fact that this community is hostile. They don't want to celebrate Christmas, and yet they're forcing it on them at every go. And then at the end of the movie, they want to have this idea that like, oh, you know what though? Like community comes together. You foster a community. Like Vic Frohmeyer is supposed to be this guy who fosters a community, and they have like this sort of communal bond across the community. And they say, you know what? Even though Luther was kind of a dick this year, we're still going to help him out and help him throw this Christmas party for Blair, because we're doing it for Blair instead. She's always been there for us. And so I like the idea of community in that sense, but at the same time, again, like you said, it feels like very forced, because Luther wasn't really being his actions were kind of dickish when he was talking to people, but for just him to swear off Christmas is not really an asshole thing to do. It's just a decision that he made that he's not going to do it this year. So I don't think that like they can come together and say like, we just, we thought Luther was acting awful, but we'll help him anyway. I feel like this has a muddled concept to it that it doesn't really know where it wants to land. Does it want to land on communism? Maybe. Right? We all share here in this suburban cul-de-sac. I don't know, but it has a muddled theme for sure. I don't like. I think it can in some cases be a horror story, especially for people who don't really like Christmas. Like, I feel like people who don't like Christmas would kind of resonate with Christmas with the Kranks up to a point where it's like, no, I just want to be left alone and, not do Christmas things. A time when 90% of the nation gets together and decides, hey, we're going to celebrate this one fucking holiday. It is weird. What are some of your favorite parts of Christmas with the Kranks?
When it ends, I'm just kidding.
When it ends.
Dan Aykroyd being Dan Aykroyd.
It's great in this as Vic Frohmeyer. I love the whole shtick that he's got going on.
Nice, like just doing Ray Zelinsky, not every other like Dan Aykroyd bit part.
And as you said too, he's like kind of the ladies' man of the society as well. You think they're having like key parties? Like just they don't.
No, he's just coming over. He's just coming over and going like, "Hi, ladies, your husband home?" No, he's not. I know.
Great, I can help out with the plumbing in there.
He's taking up Phil Hartman's role and going around instead of going like, your wife's cookies are so delicious. He's just like, let me help you put Frosty up, eh? Woo! But I mean, like, he's got like a small part, even though he gets third billing. A lot of fun. I do like, I don't think it's a good part, but I do like that this film totally is a unabashed ripoff of like Christmas Carol and Home Alone. Just smash into one. Like Chris Columbus is like, what can I do?
Sure. Yep.
Like the whole part where Tim Allen's sitting there like, I'm going to keep these people away from coming to my house and bothering me. He's sitting there hosing down his sidewalk and they're slipping and falling on their asses. And he's laughing about, that's a lawsuit.
Yeah, freezing the cat to the ground.
Awful CGI, by the way, for that. Like, meh, you know. And not only that, too, every time the cat's involved, stock, meh, you know, pissy cat sound used every time. Unnecessary, but funny. I did like when Jamie Lee Curtis's tits were out, and
When she's getting the suntan.
and the priest is like, you know, like ogling her, like, oh, you know.
That is great. When the priest is there, she's like, Father Zabriskie, what are you doing here? He's like, it's a mall, Nora. I'm Christmas shopping. Like, so dryly.
And then she's going from like covering her like face up like with because of the blood after hitting her head off, you know, the tanning booth, and like from like her head to her tits to like, you know, it's like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, yeah, it's okay, you know, funny.
I mean, a lot of people seem to hate Christmas with the Cranks. I would say that it actually has a number of legitimately funny sequences in it that I enjoy. Now, I'm not just saying that because like I have a nostalgia for it, but I actually enjoy like some of the funny parts to it. One of the greatest ones is when, you know, Luther gets Botox and he fucking is just feeling his face with a fork and he's bling, 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 bling.
What a Tim Allen bit in mid-2000s thing too. Does anyone ever talk about Botox anymore?
It's great.
Or is it like totally, you know, died?
Or when he says, I look like a mafia lieutenant. Look like you know, when he's wearing that ridiculous black turtleneck. Oh, it's great. I love it. And not only that too, but I love Tim Allen's unashamed body image in this movie of just coming out in that Speedo, fucking oiled
unashamed,
up, ready to go.
Unashamed, they're very proud of themselves.
Very proud. Yeah.
I just say, he's not unashamed. He's like, yeah, you know, my dick's gonna look great in this.
Yeah, it's one of the only Christmas family movies where you can see Tim Allen in a Speedo and Jamie Lee Curtis barely hanging on in a bikini.
Not only that, too, this film is also a great ripoff of Santa Claus, because the whole, like, part of him, like, up on the roof and, like, about to fall ass over tea kettle, it's like, I've seen this before. In a better movie.
Yeah, man. One thing I want to point out, too, before I forget, is, so, this movie has an out-of-order sequence to it. There's a part where they are getting ready for the cruise, and they say there's only 2 days until the cruise, right? So that would be December 23rd, because their cruise leaves on Christmas Day, noon, 25th. And then it goes through a montage of Luther doing the like
being
spraying the hose on the driveway and all that other stuff, and it goes through like a night and a day and a night, or a day night day sequence, which
and
would put us on. Exactly.
They only have 2 days, yeah, because they say it's only 2 days till Christmas.
And so it would put us on Christmas Day, but it's not. Then when we come back to the next, you know, after the montage, we come back and now it's Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Eve, they are like jam-packed booked because she's doing the Grinch reading at the children's hospital. They come in, they go and get lunch or whatever at the hospital. And then after that, Blair calls them and says, I'm coming home, which would be like, what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And yet they have time to run out, try to find the honey ham, have Luther go get the Christmas tree, all that stuff, get arrested. And yet still, it's not Christmas Eve night yet. So there's this movie is out of sequence in some ways. I don't know if they edited it incorrectly or just didn't take into account the montage and like how the time doesn't add up. But like, yeah, I can't not notice this now that everything is out of sequence. It does not make sense between the montage and how long like Christmas Eve day lasts. It defies time. But apparently Blair is able to set back the clock or something because Christmas Eve is like the longest day that it possibly can be in this movie. So now everybody listening to this episode is going to go and watch this movie and they're going to not be able to focus on anything else because they're going to just notice that this movie is out of sync. You're welcome. How do you feel about the pulling the heartstrings with the neighbors, Bev Scheel? She's got cancer for the 3rd time in this movie.
God. So you know it's 2004 because no one's insuring her.
Poor Bev Scheel.
Pre-Obamacare, no one's, and she's still making cookies though, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I know she's hanging in there, as Walt says, and like this movie does try to do that to the audience. It's like, oh, like you got to be nice to your neighbors because they might just die. They might have cancer and die. And so but also the fact that I guess Walt specifically is not really that nice to Luther. It's like, do you really need to be nice to neighbors who aren't nice to you in return? I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know the whole, was Luther an asshole first to Walt, or how did it happen? But at the same time, I feel like, again, it's with Christmas with the Cranks, not really understanding relationships between other people. It's like,
don't you like the man that's 20 years older than Tim Allen calling him old man?
Yeah, he loves that too. He even says that.
Old man.
It's like, stop that. Stop calling me old man. I'm not an old man. You're older than me. I love it. Excuse me. What do you think about Jake Busey and Cheech being in this movie?
Well, Jake Busey's nice and cleaned up.
Yep.
The early 2000s were good to him. Looks the same, acts the same. He's just Jake Busey. He's fine. Cheech, welcome surprise. It's kind of like seeing Boyle and in fucking Hot Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're fine. I mean, what are these two patrol officers though doing? Just constantly going down this one cul-de-sac road, constantly. Just
they're constantly on patrol in this one area.
Just
apparently
go do something else, for God's sakes.
Apparently, this community is so wealthy, they're as protected as the United Healthcare CEOs now. They have a cop on patrol 24/7, just hanging around in the cul-de-sac, just waiting for something to happen. Yeah, I mean, I like Cheech and Jake here as a team. I think they're a pretty good duo. It's, again, it's a weird subplot for this movie to just randomly have these guys arrest a thief on Christmas Eve, but I'm here for it. I like it. Again, I like the ideas that Christmas with the Cranks has, and I legitimately think that it's a pretty funny movie at times. Again, I could understand why people don't like this movie. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel like people who maybe don't really like Christmas that much are being sort of lambasted for not liking it, especially towards the end of the movie, where they're like, no, you know what? You need to find the Christmas spirit because look at all these beautiful people. This is a nice time. And it's like, some people just don't have that. How about this? How about some people don't get to stand outside their, $400,000 house looking inside, seeing all the wonderful people that are in there in their family. Some people are like, my family died. I don't have them for Christmas anymore. So don't feel, again, the movie doesn't take into account everybody has their own past with Christmas. Some people like Christmas. Some people had shitty Christmases. They don't like it. Some people make, their own traditions that don't involve Christianity at all. So Festivus, I feel like this movie tries to, it's the equivalent of saying you must say Merry Christmas. It can't be Happy Holidays. You must say Merry Christmas.
I don't get why people get offended by that.
Get offended by you saying Happy Holidays or by you saying saying Merry Christmas?
Both.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
if somebody were to say Happy Hanukkah, sir, I wouldn't be like, how fucking dare you?
Right. I feel like it is a non-starter issue, right? Because people who
what are you being offended about? Someone's wishing me well, whether it be because of Christmas, just say
exactly. I feel it's a manufactured outrage.
Yeah, just what do you no, it's definitely a who cares?
Right, exactly.
If somebody says Merry Christmas and you don't you're not Christian, who cares? Just accept it, because most people don't go to church on Christmas and do it for the religious reasons.
Right.
Merry Christmas. But if somebody's to say Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever, just say thank you and move on.
Yeah.
If someone comes up to me in like the middle of June, is like, Happy Ramadan, I'm not gonna be, whoa! What are you fucking doing?
Do I look like I celebrate Ramadan?
You know, just just be like, thank you, and move on.
Exactly. I feel like no one is complaining when someone comes. You know, if they don't celebrate Christmas, someone comes up and says Merry Christmas. Like, there's not. It just doesn't happen.
But this movie is made for the people who would be offended by somebody. This is a war against Christmas, like mid 2000s, like Fox, Bill O'Reilly, you know, Sean Hannity film of like, these fucking cunts thought they couldn't celebrate Christmas. Well, we got them. You're going to JCPenney, and you're going to buy that luggage for that trip you're not going to take.
Exactly. Yeah. How do you feel about Blair coming home with her new fiance Enrique? They just
Tim Allen had to bite every, on his sweater not to say a racist slur.
Not only that, but like they just met too, or like, I mean, they've known each other, but to get married within that like short amount of time.
Which again, the money that they have. I went to Brown.
How do you like, constantly, that was another thing that we probably should have added to the drinking game is Jamie Lee Curtis, anytime Blair calls, like, Blair! Like in this most shrieking banshee-esque voice she can conjure.
The babysitter who's getting nailed by everybody. Down, Honeywell Lane or whatever the hell. Yeah, like what the hell? I went to Brown and then I'm going to Peru for the Peace Corps. What a magical life this is.
And she gets to call from the phone on the plane. Don't forget that.
Which in 2004, Luther does
right.
have.
He's right.
He's like, really? Like,
he's like,
cost.
He's like, forget all the money we're saving at Christmas time. She just blew it on that one phone call from the plane. There it goes. Cancel the cruise.
I was gonna say Southwest Airlines didn't have didn't have good cell reception then.
And I guess my final question for you: what do you think about
the hickory honey ham?
No, it wasn't going to be about hickory honey ham. It was going to be about what do you think about Austin Pendleton as Marty being the real Santa Claus?
Should have just been Martin Short.
You would replace Austin Pendleton with Martin Short.
Yeah, because he's just doing a poor Martin Short the entire time. He's not bad by any means, but he's just doing a poor man's Martin Short.
Should have gotten Bernie Sanders.
I'm now asking you if you need an umbrella.
It would have been great. Yeah, that would have been a great one. They should remake Christmas with the Cranks.
Cranks with CGI and Bernie
just Bernie Sanders in there as well. Everybody else, though, I believe everyone else is still living, except M.M. Wall. He's dead. But everyone else is still living, so they could get like the whole cast back for Christmas with the Cranks, do the whole thing again, but just, Bernie Sanders in place of Austin Pendleton. Great.
I will say the hickory honey ham. I only mentioned that because one, great sin. Why is it a canned? This family's rich.
Yeah.
Why a tin can spam ham?
Exactly. They didn't go for like one of those like send
spiral,
away. Spiral cut ones. I don't know about that.
Even my family. Even my family. Because this is a question I was gonna. We brought it up a billion times, but I was gonna say on what you had for Christmas as a main entree. For us, it was ham. Always ham.
It used to be turkey.
So we would always do like a hickory honey ham, but it wasn't a fucking tin can spam ham. At least it was like a, spiral bone ham.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I've never had a ham like that, like a spam ham. So I don't really know. Like, maybe they enjoy the, like pretending like we're the lesser people. We're eating like the lessers are today. You know,
That's not true, as Jamie Lee Curtis at the store goes flying through another great product placement of Pepperidge Farm Milano cookies.
true. Not only that, but they're getting a case of wine of like, you know, like she's got a shopping cart in the liquor store, which
Loading it
around
up
here-
with Baileys
yeah,
and...
yeah. Like around here, we don't have that expansive of a selection of like total wine and liquors like they do around in other places. But she's like, I just like when she's talking about the party and like, I got to go out to the liquor store and get a case of wine. And Luther's like, a case for the four of us? But just think about how much, you know, like a nice bottle of wine times a case. Like, yeah, that's where their money's going for the you know, spendings at Christmas time, buying a case of wine. So fancy stuff. Yeah, I don't know why they do the hickory honey ham.
How'd you like the nice Pet Cemetery ode with the hickory honey ham getting steamrolled by
It's great.
a fucking tractor trailer?
I know. I love that the tractor trailer, and it's actually a pretty good shot too of her being right next to it, getting smashed like that. But it's I love like they kind of do that Scream Queen-esque thing for Jamie Lee Curtis as well, because this movie does at times like try to factor in like horror movie elements to it as well, like when the carolers come and they're at the window and she's like rolling up her knitting ball of yarn, just like can you imagine too, just like having nothing to do, you're like, I'm just gonna roll up this ball of yarn. This is my Monday night activity. I'm gonna sit in the den. I'm gonna roll up a ball of yarn. Man, I wish I had that little to do. Or was that easily pleased, I guess. We haven't talked about Eric Purse-Sullivan showing up here, best known for his Dewey in Malcolm in the Middle, but here playing Spike. This is probably the only other thing I know him from. How about you?
He played baby Kid Joe Dirt.
Oh, that is right. Yes, he did that too. You're right. Other than that, though, I don't know him from anything else.
He didn't really
do anything else.
Malcolm.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I love Malcolm in the Middle. That's an underrated show.
It's coming back for
You don't know how I feel
4
about
episode.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only 4 episodes.
Yeah, it's limited. It's like 4 episodes.
Okay, so maybe it'll be fine. But like, yeah, no, OG Malcolm's great. But no, I think he got out while the getting was good and
Sure.
lived a normal life.
Good. Yeah, this is not that common for child actors to live a normal life, so good for him. Yeah, it's fun seeing him here. Just thinking back to Malcolm in the Middle. Fun show. How about the party at the end? What do you think about that party where they have fucking Cheech and Jake whipping out their guitars, Dan Aykroyd pulling out a accordion,
some
and,
dude with a
Bobby playing the pan flute.
Yeah, just like
a random assortment of people that had come to this party. First of all, the party was thrown together. Then not only that, but they just thought to bring all their instruments. Like, yeah, we might play, a Peruvian tune here. Bobby was be sure to bring his pan flute.
Gotta, make sure to bust it out. They've been waiting all day for that.
Now, if that was at my party, I would leave. If someone was like, all right, we're going to start singing a Peruvian tune here. I'm like, no, this isn't karaoke. We're not having a singing party. This is a quiet party because I feel like I'm going to get smashed. I'm going to have a headache. So this is going to be a quiet party. Yeah, it's the party itself.
Doesn't look like they have
insufferable.
Doesn't look like they have any deviled eggs. So.
Oh, no, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know what they had there. They definitely had the hickory honey ham. Did they end up having her caramel cream pie? I don't know, because that's Blairy's favorite. I've never had that, by the way. Have you ever had a caramel cream pie?
No.
Or as they say, caramel cream. I don't say caramel. I say caramel.
It's caramel. I've never really. I'm not a big pie guy, so.
I looked it up after, and there's actually like a recipe for it's like the Christmas with the Cranks caramel cream pie recipe.
Maybe it's a binging with Babish episode.
Sure. Yeah. My mom used to make chocolate cream pie, which is basically just chocolate pudding and like a pie crust. But I've never had caramel cream pie. Now my interest is piqued though, because I do love caramel. I don't know if I could eat a whole pie of just caramel, but anything else we didn't talk about for Christmas with the Cranks?
I think that's it.
I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah. I think, overall, I can see how people are annoyed with this movie. At the same time, I have a love for it. I don't know. Just something that sticks with me throughout. All right, so we got to give this thing a rating on a scale of 0 to 10 stock cat yelping noises. What would you give Christmas with the Cranks?
I give it 6 out of 10. It's a fun enough film. It's nothing to write home about, at least in my opinion. I think the fun of it for me, especially now with nostalgia being left behind, and the first time I saw it was with you guys for the Drinking with the Cranks, is what kind of holds the film into high regard for me. That high because I don't think as a Christmas film it's that great of a film, because everybody's insufferable pieces of shit and miserable cunts. Just let these two poor people go on their cruise. Don't try to force them to be part of this Christmas cult that isn't even, done for the right reasons. It's a wishy-washy idea. It's got some funny parts here and there. Dan Aykroyd, it's great, as always. Jamie Lee Curtis, great as always. Tim Allen's comedy doesn't really stand the test of time these days, because and just being a snide asshole. Just kind of insufferable. And everyone else is just insufferable too. But I think it's definitely worth checking out because it's not horrible. I don't think it runs on too long. It's got enough there to be interesting, but I'd say 6 out of 10. It's a fine enough film to watch at least once. To be a Christmas staple, I'd have to disagree. And I'm sad that it took us this long to do, because I could have swore we done it.
Yeah, I would give this a 7 out of 10. Like I said, I do enjoy this quite a bit for its own sake. And I do understand why people wouldn't like it, but I think it has its form. Let's be honest. Every single Christmas movie has its annoyances, especially if you don't like Christmas that much. Then you wouldn't be really watching a Christmas movie to begin with. I can see, Jingle All the Way having a lot of annoyances itself and things that people wouldn't like about it, but it still has a fairly good cult following. Christmas with the Cranks is kind of like that. Is it a great movie? No. Does it have a great message? I guess it's, it's up in the air whether you think coming together as a community to help people is the overall message of Christmas with the Cranks, or it's fall in line. Either way though, I think the idea of it is nice enough for the Christmas season as a holiday movie. I think it has a number of legitimately good, funny moments. I think that Jamie Lee Curtis and Tim Allen have a pretty good rapport here together. And you add in Dan Aykroyd, Emmett Walsh is really good too. Cheech Marin and Jake Busey actually show up here and do a pretty good job too. I think overall you've got a recipe for a fun time, especially if you try to do it with friends. And again, try out the drinking game. It is a lot of fun to do. It's very difficult, but I think you'll even get a better enjoyment of the movie by doing it that way. Overall, I have a nostalgia for this movie, but I actually do enjoy it quite a bit, even though I recognize that, the plot itself and the ideas are really not that good. I think Skipping Christmas as a book is probably a little bit better than the movie, but, overall, I recommend it for a holiday watch. So 7 out of 10 for me. All right, so that's it for our Festivus series. Thanks everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed our Christmas season. Hope you have a good, nice Christmas coming up here. Hopefully, maybe you can go through our holiday playlist. I made one on Spotify. We have 46 hours of content for Christmas, so there's no dearth of that for you to listen to. So you can spend the holidays with us.
Check it out.
Yeah. Spend the holiday, listen, throw it on. Like if you Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, just throw on all the episodes of the podcast. Just let it play, in the background. It'd be a great soundtrack to your Christmas Day. So, and then I think we might try to return for a New Year's episode. I'm not sure. Definitely want to get Nosferatu in here at some point as well. Definitely going to be checking that out once it releases. So we got some stuff coming up in the near future and moving into 2025. So if you want to see any of that stuff, subscribe to us on pretty much any podcast app that you can think of. Apple Podcasts, our home base at Spotify, whatever you listen on, subscribe, leave us a nice review. We're on Facebook and Blue Sky as well. Search for us on there, Blood and Black Rum Podcast. We have an email address at bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com where you can write to us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, any questions or things you want us to consider. We'll definitely try to get to that. And you can donate to us on our Spotify or our Patreon page. Anything you donate goes back towards beer, so we appreciate that in advance. Thanks for listening again to our, Festivus series and this one with Christmas with the Kranks. Hopefully you do the drinking game and don't die. Take it easy on yourselves, please. And we hope to see you back next time as we move into 2025. So until then,
take care and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. Make sure we get all those in there.
You can do both.
That's right.